Welcome to my Wellness Wednesday yoga class. My first yoga class was at the age of 14 in my living room by one of my sisters, my older sister's friends. Mike Williams had gone to India to study yoga. And this was back in 1973. He was a really good looking Black man who traveled to India to teach yoga and then came back and was teaching my father and I in our living room. Quite unusual for the times. This was before yoga was really known at all. And at that time, I had been diagnosed with scoliosis and had a lot of pain. I'd been in an emergency room with shortness of breath and spasms. And it was not unusual for me to beg my mother just to rub my back and help me get out of bed in the morning. At age 14, I'd had a lot of dental work done and braces and a hiatal hernia at 12. I had been a dancer and a gymnast, and my back was not happy. Over the years, I've periodically practiced many different forms of yoga, but I really didn't get serious with yoga until my 40s when I did a 90-day challenge and learned that I could actually stretch my spine, and I had grew 1.5 inches in the scoliosis. I am 62 this year, and I would not feel and look the way I do without yoga. I've also been able to get rid of the over 40 flabby arms, the love handles, and with some dietary changes, I've lost 35 pounds too. So, but I want to say that yoga is much more than the asana or the physical practice. Yoga is an ancient set of tools, a map to navigate healthy living. It also encompasses breath work, ethical guidelines, and a roadmap for focus, concentration, meditation, and ultimately peace, freedom, and bliss. The yamas and the niyamas are the first set of guidelines or stepping stones on the eightfold path of the Yoga Sutras. And this is a basic text for classical yoga. And there are 5 yamas and 5 niyamas. Today we'll just talk about the first one. The first yama is Ahimsa, which translates to non-violence. Yoga is meant to be experienced, resulting in self-discovery and growth. You don't get yoga from reading a book. We're going to have a practice, and it's why it's called a practice. Non-violence must begin with the self before it can be extended to our relationships and to the environment. Like the Hippocratic Oath, the message is to do no harm. So whether you're taking my class or any other yoga teacher's class, I urge you, number 1, is to do no harm. To pay attention to your body. It's a time to reconnect. Reconnect to yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and know that every time you come to the mat, the experience may and will be different because we're different. We're growing and evolving into the person that we wish to be. So my goal today is to practice and model nonviolence by first becoming conscious of the automatic negative thoughts or the ants in the head and the self-limiting beliefs that keep us stuck. Oh, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible. Well, how do you get flexible? You practice and you get on the mat. When I first started, I could not touch my hands to the floor. Now with practice, some days I can almost touch my head. And as I said, my spine grew by 1.5 inches in 90 days of daily practice when I was 40. So you're never too old. You're never too late to start. And then the self-limiting beliefs that keep us stuck. These thoughts are a form of self-violence. So is the need to beat ourselves up. How often do we beat ourselves up? Oh, Lisa, don't be so stupid. Oh, Lisa, I can't believe you did that. All the automatic negative thoughts when we are less than perfect. This is about practice. It's not about perfection. Each layer uncovers another layer, and we get a little deeper and deeper. So that's enough talking. Let's go to the mat. First of all, let's lay down in Savasana. Find a comfortable position. You may want a little blanket underneath the neck because we have a natural curve in the neck. And always with yoga, we want to honor this natural curve in the neck and the lower back. Sometimes we get so focused on tucking the tailbone, strengthening the spine, that we can over exaggerate and overstretch. And we always want to maximize our natural curves. So I like to have sometimes a little neck as a pillow. Have the shoulder blades tucked down, palms up, facing outside a little bit. Tuck the sit bones a little bit, and then let the legs relax. Feet just resting open. And let's close the eyes and put one hand on the chest and one hand on the lower belly and just breathe. And notice where the breath is. And feel how the body feels, just melting into the mat. Let's take a moment here and think about what is your intention for the day? How do you want to feel? And how can we internalize this feeling and feel this way now? Maybe a sense of peace, a sense of gratitude. Feel how it feels to be fully supported by the mat. And notice as you're breathing where you may be holding tension in the body. Now let's draw our attention to the hand that's on the chest or the heart center. And see if we can't breathe into that center. Breathe loving energy into the heart. Most of us are chest breathers, and we are breathing primarily in the heart space. Then bring our hands right below the breast on the rib cage and see if we can extend the breath out into the rib cage. We might feel the back of the heart resting on the mat. And then bring the hands to the lower belly, right by the groin, below the belly button. And see if you can extend the breath into this region. And in doing so, we're massaging the lower back. And we are stimulating the polyvagal nerve, the vagal nerve, that is a nerve, the largest nerve outside of the spinal cord that is always monitoring for whether we're in fight or flight, or we're in rest and repair, rest and digest, or mate and ovulate, depending on what our goals are. But we want to bring our breath right down into this deep lower belly, and this vagal nerve that connects right into the groin is often very tight. We're sitting in chairs all day. These muscles are tight. And we need to let our body know that it's okay to rest and relax, rest and repair. So just take a moment. Notice any automatic negative thoughts that might come through the head. Oh, can she speed this up? And just be in the present moment and focus. Now on an inhale and exhale, bring that right knee up into the chest area. Then line the knee with the breastbone. And let's just hold it here. And breathe. And we're going to notice how the breath moves the knee up and back. And we're just slowly massaging this lower spine. This morning we're going to do a little bit of yin. Yin yoga is slower and more meditative. We hold the poses, and the goal is to relax and release and let go so that the muscles can relax and the ligaments and the tendons that's holding the muscle to the bone, especially down here, are able to release. So it's the opposite of a forced stretch. The more we relax and stay in this position, I'm going to sit up for a minute, but I want you to stay in the position. The more we can relax and release into this pose and hold it. Each pose we hold for 2 to 5 minutes. The deeper we can find the stretch. So we are, with every yin, with every relaxation, there's always a little bit of yan, of movement. There's stillness and movement. The movement is the breath. The stillness is the mind and the body. We're stimulating the ascending colon. We are massaging the bladder and the kidney meridian, which in traditional Chinese medicine is the longest foundational meridian in the body. From the big toe all the way up the front line of the body, massaging the inner organs, up into the lungs and the breast, the jawbone, the head, it comes back down, the shoulder blade, into the kidney meridian, the pelvis area, down, back around to the toe. So we are massaging this whole area as we hold this position. Then on an inhale, let's raise the leg up, and exhaling, letting it come down, and just relaxing and seeing if we don't feel now this sudden rush of energy as we're opening up this area that we just constricted. And just assimilate this movement. And the right leg may feel longer than the left. Isn't this amazing? Now let's inhale. And on the exhale, bring the left knee up in line with the left breast. And now we are stimulating not only the bladder and the kidney meridian on the left side, but the descending colon. So if you've not had your morning elimination, you might start to feel some rumbling in the digestion area, and this is always a good thing. In my practice, we talk a lot about healthy digestion and healthy bowel movements. We should have 2 to 3 a day. Most people are surprised at that. This is where we get rid of our waste products and we detoxify. And if we're constipated, we're holding in toxins. And this can cause inflammation and be the root cause of really inflammation of all dis-ease in the body. These simple yin practices also help modulate blood sugar and blood pressure. So this is a classic example of how less is more. And just breathing, this deep belly breathing into this lower groin. It's massaging the lower back. It's feeling really, can feel really wonderful. This is a basic, you've seen my 15-minute yin yoga for sleep. This is just a basic thing you can do in bed to massage this lower back. This root chakra, the energy center from the pelvis to the feet, that where we hold our emotions, and it's our center of creativity. It's where we give our most creative action is, of course, childbirth. We're filtering 15 gallons of blood an hour through our kidneys. And our kidneys are a filter. Everything has to go through the kidneys. If you have kidney issues, it's a sign of toxicity. The kidneys and the eyes are the canary in the coal mine, meaning when we have kidney and eye issues, they're the smallest capillaries. It can mean we need some help with elimination, detoxification. We're all exposed to toxins. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of how toxic are we and how can we increase our elimination. So sweat, breath, urine, and stool are the ways we release these toxins. So let's take a big inhale, stretch that leg out, and exhaling, releasing, letting the leg fall down, and release. And now we may feel some energy flowing down this left side. Let's bring both knees up, and let's bring the feet up toward the ceiling and keep the knees bent. And bring our hands inside our legs and just clasp wherever you can. If you're flexible, you might clasp the top of the feet. Otherwise, you may just reach in the shins, the calves, and then gently rock back and forth. And here we're using gravity and our back to massage the back. If it can feel really good, if it doesn't feel good, modify it. But I can feel the tension in my lower back, between my shoulder blades, and this can feel really good. So we're just doing a little more motion. Now we can bend the knees, and only if this feels good, we might want to rock back and forth, massaging the whole spine. If it doesn't feel good, you've had back surgery, you have back injuries, don't do it. Ahimsa, remember, do no harm. So we've got two options, side to side or back to back. If you're going side to side, roll over to the side. If you're going back to back, roll up into a seated position. Let's inhale our shoulders up, squeezing the shoulder blades down along the spine. Inhaling up and down. Maybe do one shoulder and then the other shoulder. Oh, this feels so good. Maybe both shoulders. Now let's bring the head to the side. Just let one ear come down toward the shoulder. Let the shoulder relax. And then maybe look down toward that knee and breathe and just feel the stretch on the opposite side. You might shake your head. Yes. Shake it no. And just feel where's the spot that needs a little extra, that's the most tension. We come to the point of feeling tension and then just breathe and rest and relax. So yin yoga is a little different than a relaxation yoga. Relaxation is all about just relaxing and letting go. Yin is we come to the point of we feel tension, and then we just maybe even a little discomfort, a little stretch, and then we breathe into it. And see if we can't feel a release. Let's bring the chin back to center. The back of the neck is long. And then we're just going to do the other side. And one side may be more flexible than the other. That's okay. It's just a, wonder why that is. Instead of saying, what's wrong with me? Maybe we favor one side more than the other. So we can feel a little release here, and then we can play and experiment. Let's bring the chin down. Maybe shake the head yes. Shake the head no. And then find the spot that needs a little more love, a little more attention, and hold that and breathe. At any time, it may be nice to close the eyes just to go inward and experience whatever sensations that we are feeling in our different shapes that we're putting our body in. Bring the chin back to center. Let's bring the shoulders up. Squeeze the shoulder blades down. And move. Let's do a little cat and cow. We can do this in a chair. We can do this sitting on the floor. We can do this at any time. Inhaling, arching the sit bones. Feeling the sit bones and arching the belly forward. We're going to inhale, shoulder blades back, maybe gently lifting the head, and exhaling, bringing the belly in and rocking back, arching the spine in the opposite direction. Inhaling, coming forward, chest forward, arching the spine. Exhaling, bringing the belly back, buttoning back in toward the spine. And so we're opening up gently the front and the back line of the body. And my hips just cracked, just doing that feels good. Just the older we get, the more vata we are, the more air. Sometimes we crack. Let's bring the one hand behind us, in the center of the back, pressing that up, and the opposite hand to the opposite knee. And let's just move our belly toward that back arm, and then the side rib cage, and then the neck. So we have a gentle full body stretch. Inhaling, getting taller, and exhaling, twisting a little further. And then let's release that and go to the other side, the opposite hand behind, stretching the spine up, inhaling, opposite hand to the knee, gently bringing the lower belly around, then the side rib cage, and then the neck. We never want to torque the neck or force the twist with the neck. Getting a lot of twist here without even moving the neck. And then you can bring the head and the neck to look over the opposite shoulder and breathe. Inhaling, breathing, exhaling, maybe deepening the twist. Moving the spine in a twisting motion. Coming back to center. Let's bring the left hand to one side, inhaling and exhaling, stretching the spine from that sit bone all the way to the fingertips. Inhaling up, exhaling down, and then the opposite arm, inhaling up and stretching from that sit bone all the way to the fingertips. Inhaling up, exhaling Then let's come into tabletop. The knees are right over the hips. The shoulders are right over the hands. The elbows are facing toward the top of the mat. The wrists are wide. We are going to put the pressure in the fatty parts of the thumb, the base of the forefinger, and the pinky finger. Hands are slightly pronated out toward the corners of the mat. And we're going to squeeze that fatty parts to protect the wrists, and then bring the fingertips into the mat. Inhale, let the belly drop. The shoulder blades come down the back. And exhaling, pressing with our palms, arching the spine. Again, we're doing cat and cow. Inhaling, cow. We look like a cow. The arched back. And then exhaling, looking like a cat with an arched spine. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. We can actually put a little variety in this. When we inhale, let the belly drop, move the hips to the right. Exhaling, moving the hips up and over to the left. This is called a barrel roll. We can then bend the elbows, let the head sway. The hips can move. It feels luscious. Breathe into this, and then opening the spine in all directions. And then the opposite way. Let's come back to tabletop. Take the right arm forward, the left leg back. Flex that inner rotation of the thigh. Flex the foot down toward the mat. Inhale here, and then exhale, bending and arching. Bring the elbow to the knee. And then inhaling, straight back out. Exhaling, elbow to the knee. Inhaling, straight out. Exhaling, elbow to the knee. Inhaling, straight. We can hold this here, or we can bend the leg, and if we can reach back and clasp the foot, we can open up the shoulder. This feels so good to me. Inhaling up. And then release. If you're on the computer all day, the shoulders can get quite tight. Let's come back to tabletop and do a couple of cats and cows. Inhaling, arching the spine. Exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And then let's do the other side. Left arm rises, thumb pointed toward the ceiling. Bring that opposite leg back and flex the foot. So the toes are pointed down toward the mat. Inhale, exhaling, bringing the knee to the elbow. Inhaling, straighten it out. Exhaling, bringing the knee to the elbow. Inhaling, straightening it out. Exhaling, knee to the elbow. Inhaling, straight. We can hold it here, or you can try just bending the foot and reaching back, clasping it, and then stretching out the opposite shoulder. Should feel really good. And then release. Let's bring our palms about a palm's width up toward the top of the mat, and then come forward so that there is a straight line between the shoulders and the buttocks. We can inhale, exhale, bring the elbows straight back. Inhaling forward, exhaling a couple more inches. Inhaling, straightening the arms. Exhaling a couple more inches. This is Chaturanga. We can do it with bent knees, or we can flex the feet and come up into plank and try it again. Inhaling, straightening the arms. Exhaling, a couple of inches down, inhaling up, exhaling a couple of inches down. And then let's lower ourselves all the way to the mat and bring the right arm out as like a T, and the left hand by the chest, roll over on that shoulder. And gives us a really nice, yummy stretch of this shoulder. You might also feel it in your temple. And you can rub your temple on the mat. You can leave the leg straight, or you can bend that upper leg as I am here. And breathe here. We're going to hold this. If you are have little rotator cuff issues from too much golf or too much tennis or too much computer time, if you're right-handed, this is a really nice, yummy stretch. You can also take the upper hand, bend the leg, and just stretch out both sides, clasping that top foot. And you've got a little mini back bend here as well. If you've got the bind, you can release the bind and come back on the shoulder, roll back on the belly, and take the left hand out in a T and roll over on the opposite side. You can keep the knee bent or straight, or bend the knee there. And let's hold it on this side. And if you want to take the bind, bend that knee and stretch out. Clasp the top hand with the foot behind you and have a little stretch. Again, making sure you are breathing into this deep lower belly. You can release the bind and come back into on the belly. And let's come into a Sphinx Pose. The elbows are right under the chest. And let's isometrically press the hands, like the shoulders are coming back and the chest is just coming forward. In a vinyasa practice, this would be very active. Once we've found our position in a yin practice, we want to just see if we can't relax. Release the tension on the lower back, if you've got any tension on the lower back. Imagine the shoulders are like clothespins, and we're just hanging out here. This simple position, as we feel the breath on the belly, also massages the bladder and the kidney meridians. You can stay here or we can move into Sphinx Pose. Sphinx Pose is where we're going to, let's move our hands up a little bit and then straighten in the arms. And there's a little more of a back bend, a little more pressure maybe. And we can play and experiment, move the palms a little closer up so we have a little deeper experience. And again, especially if you've had surgery or lower back issues, you want to be very gentle here. And this is about Ahimsa. Again, do no harm. So we get to a point where we feel a challenge. And we breathe into it and we hold it until we feel like, oh, maybe we can go a little deeper or not. And this is, you don't get any extra points by being more bendy. This is about experiencing where you are today and opening up to possibilities of where you might go. And let the head kind of hang. The more we can breathe into that deep lower belly breath, the more of a massage we get. Now bend the elbows and come down. And with the forehead to the mat. And then gently bring the hands down by the side. And let's push ourselves back up into a child's pose. Child's pose is the knees are out toward the edge of the mat. And we can bring our hips down. And then stretch our arms out straight in front of us, bringing the forehead to the mat. This is a counter pose to that lower back, and it can feel really good. Breathing into that lower belly. One of my early favorite mentors said yoga is about finding the truth of who you really are, and then finding the courage to listen and act on that. You can stay here, or you can walk the right hand to the right side of the mat and walk the left hand over and put the left hand on the right hand of the mat and extend the stretch. Breathing from the left sit bone all the way to the left fingertips. And then you can stay here, or you can walk the left hand to the left side of the mat and bring the right hand on the left side and make a stretch out on the opposite side. Then walk the hands back to center. Let's come up into a tabletop. Again, let's arch the spine, let the belly drop into on the inhale, on the exhaling, arching the spine in the opposite direction. Cat and cow. Let's flex the feet and then pressing down with the hands, we're going to bend the belly into the bent knees, sit bones up toward the ceiling in a modified downward dog. Then we can straighten out the right leg and bring that heel close to the mat as we bend the left. And then raise that right heel and bend the left heel down toward the mat and bending the opposite knee. And in this way, we're going to walk out our dog. And we are massaging 26 acupressure points in the body. You can bend the opposite elbows to knees, let the head hang, and slowly walk out our dog. Let's walk the feet up toward the hands. So we're now in a modified forward bend, keeping the knees bent, the belly on the knees. We can shake our head yes, shake our head no, maybe bounce our sit bones yes, shake them no, and loosen up the spine this way. We can clasp both elbows and then gently rock side to side. Deep belly breathing, a gentle forward bend. Release the hands, bring the hands on the shins, inhaling, straightening the knees a little bit, and then let the hands and the head hang, and hold the belly button in as we slowly roll up, vertebrae by vertebrae, leaving the neck and the head last. Let's inhale the shoulders up, exhaling them down. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Let's take one arm up over the head and stretch side body from that foot all the way to the fingertips. Inhaling, exhaling down. The opposite arm up. Inhaling, stretching from the toes all the way to the fingertips. Inhaling, exhaling down. Let's take both arms up. Inhaling, exhaling, a slight bend of the knees, the belly button in. Let's do a swan dive forward. Then inhale to a flat back. And then exhaling, stepping back into plank pose. And plank pose can be like this, or we can bring our knees down. Let's come forward into Chaturanga, bending the elbows down. Inhaling to upward dog. And exhaling back into downward dog. Walking our dog out by bending one knee and then the other. And walking the hands back to the mat, to the top of the feet. Walking the feet up to the hands, inhaling to a flat back. Exhaling down. Inhaling, rising all the way up. Exhaling, swan dive forward. Inhaling to a flat back. Exhaling, placing the hands to the top of the mat, bringing the feet back. We can come into plank or modified, coming out on our toes. Exhaling, bending the elbows down. Inhaling up into upward dog. Top of the feet are on the mat. And exhaling back into downward dog. Let's take a couple of breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. And bend the knees, and we can walk or hop up to the top of the mat for one more. Inhaling to a flat back. Exhaling, forward bend. Inhaling, swan, arms up. Exhaling, forward bend. Inhaling up to a flat back. Exhaling, placing our hands at the top of the mat. Our feet back into plank. And then coming down into Chaturanga. Inhale into upward dog. And exhaling into downward dog. And let's take 3 deep breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling with a sound, letting it go. Inhaling, exhaling with a and one more. Inhale and exhale, letting it all out with a sigh. Let's inhale our right leg up, bend at the knee, open up the hip. Breathe here, and then exhale. That bent knee coming forward, stepping in between the hands, letting the left knee down to the mat. Let's inhale the right arm up, inhaling, thumb facing toward the ceiling, and then bringing the thumb down facing the floor as we rotate our arms. This is great for that shoulder. Inhaling the arm up, flexing it, coming down. Inhaling the arm up, exhaling down. Then let's inhale and bring this hips back and flex that front foot up. Inhaling, coming forward in a lunge. Exhaling, bringing the sit bones back and flexing that right foot up. Slight bend in the knee. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, bringing the hips back, flexing the knee. And let's bring the right foot back into tabletop and the left foot forward, coming into a lunge, letting the sit bones come toward the mat. The left arm comes forward in front of us, thumbs up, and then bring the thumb back down facing the floor. So we are opening up this rotator cuff that can be so tight. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Let's bring the sit bones back. Let's come back in the tabletop. And let's come back down on our mat. We're getting close to the hour. So keeping the knees bent, belly in. Let's bring our hands out in front of us and then slowly see if we can come back vertebrae by vertebrae down, chin is tucked. As slow as possible onto the mat. Let's bring the feet up over the hips, flex the feet, and we can have our hands down by our sides, or we can raise the hips a little and have the hands under the hips for a little more support if you want. Hold the belly button in, flex the feet, inhale, and exhale, bringing the stretched legs out about a third of the way. Inhale, exhale, bringing it down another third of the way. Inhale, exhale, just having the legs hover, holding our belly button in, protecting the lower back. And inhale, raising the feet back up toward the ceiling. Let's try that again. Holding the belly button in to protect this lower back. Inhale, exhale about a third of the way. Inhale, exhale another third of the way. Inhale and exhale and hover. Inhaling, bringing the legs back up. let's bend the opposite hand and to the knee. Inhale in, we're gonna bicycle. And we can do elbow to knee or hands to knee. Let's just bicycle to work the obliques, a little bit of ab work. And we can bicycle up and bicycle down. And it can be elbow or knee. And then bring the knees into the chest and let them, and actually this is a good time to go back into that happy baby if we'd like, kind of massage that lower back or between the shoulder blades, whatever you can find. And then bend the knees and let the knees fall over to the left and bring the arms out as a T. We can look over to the side and feel a nice little twist again here. And then inhaling the knees back to center. Let the knees fall over to the opposite side. And then if you want, you can bring the head toward the opposite shoulder. And feel a nice twist here. Let's inhale, bringing the knees back to center. Let's bring the feet down by the mat. So the knees are bent. The heels are close to the buttocks. Bring the hands down back by the side of the mat. Palms facing down toward your feet. Inhale, tuck the sit bones up. Well, first of all, I want to make sure you've got this little space between your neck is not flat. So we are putting pressure just on the back of the head, not the neck. And we're going to inhale, hold the belly in, and the sit bones are going to come up toward the ceiling in a little back bend. And we're going to exhale, coming down vertebrae by vertebrae, keeping the sit bones tucked. So we can inhale, we can actually arch the spine a little bit, and then raise the hips up, vertebrae by vertebrae, a little back bend, and exhaling, massaging the spine, coming down vertebrae by vertebrae. Let's do this a couple more times. Inhaling up and exhaling down, and being careful not to put pressure on the neck. There's still a curve of the spine, and we're just pressing our head into the mat as we're raising our hips up. So the weight's on the shoulder blades and the back of the head and coming down. And this should feel like a really nice little massage on the back as well. And then before we get into our final Savasana, or resting pose, we can move in happy baby. We can twist and turn, maybe bring the hands on top of the knees and then gently massage this lower back by rotating the, kind of stirring the pot here. Moving the knees around the pelvis in one direction and then the opposite direction. And then whatever movement you need to get into final Savasana, resting pose. So I like to bring a little blanket under my neck. Let the legs fall down as they were before. The shoulder blades are tucked into the back, shoulders down, palms facing up, slightly away from the hips. The back of the neck is long, and close your eyes. And come into final resting pose and just breathe here. I'm going to share with you the rest of my writing on a few strategies as you're laying here in Savasana, a few strategies to practice personal nonviolence or Ahimsa. First of all, recognize the automatic negative thoughts and the self-limiting beliefs that we all have, common from our amygdala brain. Recognize them and then open your heart and mind to new possibilities. You might ask, is this really true? My automatic negative thoughts? Am I really stupid? Am I always stupid? Could I sometimes not be stupid? And then how would I feel if I weren't telling myself that? Maybe empowered. And can I feel that way now? Number 2, recognize that fear creates violence and discover the difference in fear that is healthy and protective versus fear that is incapacitating and keeps us from living life to its fullest. Have some discernment here. Number 3, practice cultivating courage and compassion. Courage to look directly at our fear and to take loving action. And compassion and forgiveness for shortcomings. Delete the need to beat yourself up. Create space in your life for contemplation. Prioritize time for self. Give yourself a little gratitude for just taking this time to stretch and move and be on your mat. Create balance to overcome feelings of powerlessness. Learn to say no and say yes to self-care. Recognize that there are many paths to healing that lead to many choices. Lovingly choose what you eat, think, and the actions that you take. Love you as you would have others love you. We have to teach others how to treat ourselves. Fill your vessel first so that you can give your best to others. Give yourself the same love, time, and attention that you give others. Most of all, love all of you. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Recognize that what we resist persists and creates harmful thoughts of guilt and shame. This serves no purpose and is a form of self-mutilation. Forgive all of your imperfections and mistakes. The bottom line is we can choose to react out of fear or respond out of love. If you want more peace, you have to create inner peace. So as we're laying here, feel this warm, loving energy coming from the top of the head, the crown chakra, bringing this warm, healing energy down into the space between the third eye, your center of intuition. Still lying on your back with your eyes closed. Feel this and see this warm, healing light in the third eye, the center of intuition. Then feel this warm, healing light. Feel the eyeballs relaxing and melting into the sockets. Release the brow, release the temples. Open up the sinuses, feeling this warm, healing, light energy coming into the sinuses, relaxing the earlobes, letting the lower jaw release. Let the tongue fall back in the mouth. As you're laying here on the mat, feel the energy and this light and healing light coming into the thymus, the center of the chest that holds your immune system. Bring this warm healing energy into the heart center. Feel the heart expanding. Feel this warm healing energy relaxing those shoulder blades, fully supported into the mat. Feel this warm and healing energy coming down the shoulders, into the elbows, into the wrists and the fingers. Bring this warm healing energy into the abdomen, the power center, the center where we digest our food, we assimilate all our vitamins and minerals, allowing the belly to rumble, to make noises, to secrete the stomach acid we need to digest our food, and stimulate the pancreas and the liver and the gallbladder to release bile acids and pancreatic enzymes, letting them further activate our food and break it down into vitamins and minerals, amino acids, essential fatty acids, fats, and glucose, letting this assimilate into our bloodstream, releasing the lower back, massaging the lower spine, letting this warm healing energy come down into the legs and the knees, celebrating how our knees support us in walking, the miracle of movement, bringing this warm healing energy into our calves and our ankles, and letting us feel totally grounded into the mat. So when we leave here today, we are going to feel energized, grounded, secure, and ready for a fabulous day. Let's stretch and slowly start moving our hands and our feet. We might extend our arms up over our head for a full body stretch. You might open your mouth and take a yawn. Then roll over to one side and slowly pull yourself up into a seated position. Let's end our practice here, and we can sit cross-legged, or you can sit on your knees if that feels better. Bring our hands to center, fingertips touching, a little space between our palms, bringing our thumbs to the center of our heart center of our chest, slightly bowing the head. Let's do 2 ohms to finish the practice. We're going to inhale into our lower belly, and the ohm is a 3-part breath. It's a ah, oh, om. So let's inhale. Ah, om. And let's do that one more time. Inhaling. Ah, om. And bring the palms to the forehead, and let's bow to each other, saying namaste. The light in me honors the light in you. Have a fabulous day. Thank you for joining me for Wellness Wednesday. Carpe diem, seize the day.